don't actually want to be called feminists. They don't want to be associated with the word feminism because of the history of what feminism is. You know, we understand feminism as a Western thing, and we've always we all understand that like colonialism has shaped our lives in a huge extent. And like I see a lot of like young ladies now actually pushing that away. Like funny, like it's all contradictory though, because as much as we live in a very Western influenced way, we try to push away these labels that kind of associate us with colonialism again. And like for some people, I can tell that calling yourself a feminist immediately sounds like you are pushing away your culture, you are pushing away what your tradition stands for, and therefore they would rather keep that tradition, even if it means being so-called submissive or whatever. And I think, like there's just a bigger need almost to reclaim tradition and reclaim like our culture than taking what has been given to us, you know, like feminism and liberalism by so-called white people, you know. So I think that's quite
Women need to liberate themselves to the extent, I think, they feel that because of the traditional perspective that they should be submissive to like the form of liberation within a female community, if you know what I mean, and should rather be submissive to the action of being liberal. Each form of feminism differs immensely, whereas there is no unit. That's why I think it's better to state feminism as different forms of feminism and not just one feminist theory.
Western feminism is very stuck on the word equality, you know, like that we are exactly equal, we are one and the same. While when you go to the dual gender system, it's about how we complement each other. And I think that's so important that we need to recognize, you know what, you're a man, I'm a woman, we're different, but don't then think that I am inferior, because at the end of the day, we are just like, you know, we complement each other. You can't be without me, I can't be without you in a sense, you know. And I'm not talking about like relationship-wise, it just means like in a society in general.
Yeah, that's equal. Like that's very true. Like even in terms of our culture, when I'm concerned, like we have rituals that celebrate men and we have rituals that celebrate women, but in very different ways. So it's not about equality and let's all sit in one room and be like the same. But it's like, okay, how as women can we develop ourselves, and how as men are we supposed to develop ourselves to create like this unit, to create this nation?
That brings up a question of how would this feminism be shaped, you know, because there's a lot of us who, I'm a feminist, you know, but at the same time though, there's this thing at the back of my mind where I say culture does not appear out of a vacuum, and then I think it's important for us to preserve our traditions as young black people, you know, so it's that thing of you're sort of being pulled in two ways, and on the one side you're being told, no, your culture's telling you to be submissive, this, that, and then at the same time that you say, no, this is part of who I am, you know, and I want to embrace this. So now the big question that comes up is how do we form it, like
how do we redefine it?
You know what I mean? Exactly. So we need to shape it according to who and what we are,
or what the generation we want. I think feminism in a urban society relates more to the women who feel educated, whereas in the society that we live in has been globalized to the extent that our influences or our frames of understanding certain perspectives does really come from the amount of information that is globalized into the society, whereas in the rural society, I think they're very stuck to their traditional and cultural perspectives, which doesn't allow a lot of globalization to occur.
I think sometimes feminism is established within like African, like in my culture we reach a certain stage, you have to do initiation and all that stuff. So in Western culture, when they think about it, it's like, oh, you know, we're doing this, it's so barbaric and everything. But once you get to understand it, it also helps you, like, it opens the legs. It's like some form of feminism that was within the African culture, which is not Western.
It just hasn't been called feminism. It's not exactly how it's defined, but you find situations where women come together and they work together and they lead each other almost in a way, you know? So especially like in the Xhosa culture, as I was saying, you have rituals like Indonjana where young women, especially virgins, get called in by the older women and they get taught how to treat themselves, how to respect themselves as women, and how to empower themselves within the family unit, you know. And like that's one realm where women come together and they have total power almost, you know. So there is a sort of feminism there. It's just a bit different from how we define it.
When the Western people look into us, into like, well, as a whole, they see it as one thing that they confuse for women being inferior is respect. Like Uvio was saying, we have different rituals for males and females,